liar, and David Corn as well. And it was Steele's dossier and the media's Steele's source reporting of that dossier that was used by James Comey and others to commit premeditated fraud against the FISA court, all for the purpose of getting a backdoor to spy on the Trump campaign, the Trump transition, and even the Trump presidency. And on Sunday with Maria Bartiromo, great interview she had with Lindsey Graham. Well, he had this to say about the blatant, scary corruption and abuse of power. Take note.
The warrant application to the FISA court, I think, was, quite frankly, a fraud on the court. I want all the communications out where they were on notice that Christopher Steele hated Trump, that he was an unreliable informant. I want the information out that the dossier prepared by Steele coming from Russia is unverified to this day. I want the transcripts surrounding interviews with Papadopoulos to be released, where it was pretty clear he was not working with the Russians. I want it all out. I want people to see how off the rails this investigation got, and I want people to be held accountable, and I am patient. I'm not in a hurry to do it. I want to do it right.
We're going to do it right, and all the truth is being revealed. And, for example, we know Comey knowingly lied to the FISA court, period. That's premeditated fraud on a FISA court. Imagine if we did that. Now, he claimed that the information in the phony dossier and the FISA application was verified. We now know it was completely unverifiable from the get-go. And when the FBI finally got around to looking into the dossier, well, after he was fired, they discovered well over 90+% of the information was one big Clinton bought and paid for Russian lie, lie after lie. So despite what Comey might have you believe, oh, no. Jim Comey's a phony. He's no choir boy, and he's a big-time Democratic donor, we learned today. This year alone, he donated almost $20,000 to Democrats. Shocking. He even canvassed his neighborhood on Election Day for a Democratic candidate. Comey's clear bias. Oh, and his lack of candor, that would be lying to the FBI. Let's see, Manafort, Cohn, Papadopoulos. Big trouble when you lie to the FBI. Outright fraud is a stain on what is the greatest law enforcement agency on this planet, our FBI. But committing fraud on a FISA court was just, well, one of the many ways Obama's government spied on members of an opposition party during an election. We know at least 3 Trump campaign officials were spied on by FBI sources. We also know that the FBI ordered an undercover op to spy on George Papadopoulos. And let's not forget the unprecedented level of unmasking and leaking raw intelligence and abuse of surveillance powers. How did Samantha Power ever ask the unmask, what is it, a UN ambassador? Why is she unmasking 300 Americans in 2016? Oh, she claims she didn't. Okay. Well, who did that? And by the way, now the question is coming down to this. What did Obama, what did Joe, creepy, crazy, sleepy Uncle Joe know? What did Loretta Lynch know? What did Rice know? What did Powers know? When did they know it? This question must now be asked by law enforcement. It's time for Obama to be put under oath. Now, here's why. According to former U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy in his new book, Obama and Biden were more than complicit. You see, you can't have an operation like this unless it's the President of the United States. Take a watch.
The Obama administration put the law enforcement and intelligence apparatus of our government in the service of the Clinton campaign. Counterintelligence investigations belong to the president. They're only done for one reason, and that is to gather intelligence so that the president can carry out his national security responsibilities under the Constitution. So any counterintelligence investigation is the president's investigation.
This goes to the West Wing.
It goes to the president.
Let's go through this again. Any counterintelligence operation, oh, that is being owned by the president. Now it's time for us to get to who knew what, when, and where. What did Obama know, and when did he know it? This question applies to the rigged investigation into Hillary Clinton. Last week, the Daily Caller reported that the Clinton IT aide who used the bleach bit to destroy the 30,000 subpoenaed emails, guess what? He also sent nearly all of them, 30 of the 33,000 emails, to a cryptic Gmail account. Now, that would mean that all of Hillary Clinton's classified top-secret material from the State Department is currently sitting on a Google server somewhere in America. But Google, we know, is supporting Democrats, and they like to suppress conservatives. Yeah, biggest campaign contribution issue ever. We will get to this. And according to the Daily Caller, the FBI wasn't concerned and alerted neither of America's intel agencies nor the public. Also, we learned Peter Strzok was told, in real time, the Chinese are actually getting everything going across Hillary's server in the mom-and-pop bathroom closet. We'll get reaction to all of this in a moment. First, we now have more on the developing story surrounding Steele. And with that is our own Catherine Herridge. Catherine, what do you have tonight?
Sean, the clock is ticking for the FBI. According to this new court order, they have 60 days to provide records documenting their contact and communications with dossier author Christopher Steele. The timeline matters. The court wants records after Steele was fired by the FBI just before the presidential election over his contact with the media, where he was spreading the dossier allegations about collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Responding to a federal lawsuit brought by Judicial Watch, U.S. District Court Judge Christopher Cooper said the records could help or hurt the FBI and should be public because the Steele allegations targeted a political campaign. Quote, those records might either bolster or weaken Steele's credibility as a source. That information, in turn, could provide a basis on which to evaluate the FBI's performance of its law enforcement duties, including its judgment in selecting and relying on confidential sources, especially in connection with such a politically sensitive subject. Based on new information, the Inspector General's FISA report got delayed because his team had to re-interview witnesses to deconflict testimony after Steele agreed to cooperate. Since we've learned that Steele was not the only reluctant witness to come forward at the 11th hour, Sean.
All right, Catherine Herridge in Washington, thank you. We'll have more of my opening